All
All
right.
right.
So,
So, go ahead.
character description. Should I just put my name or like
So, are you looking at the character sheet brand new? Is that what's happening?
yeah.
Um, there's a lot of
Oh,
ways to do
I
this,
should go to
right?
should I go to legacy or the primary?
I think that the legacy one is the better one personally,
Oh,
but
okay.
what I'm trying to tell you is that if you have a method that you like to keep notes, you should do that method.
Okay.
Right? Like this is a personal thing. This is to help you
Oh,
play the
okay.
game.
This is for okay, so there's not like necessarily like an exact way to do
No,
this then.
everyone does it differently. Literally everyone. I have that strictly for the people that cannot imagine a way to keep notes.
Okay. Well, I think
Right?
it's nice to have something to start with.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, like I said, it's up to you. However you want to do it. But I'm going to help you along the way. So whatever you do, just make sure that I can access it. That's all that really matters.
yeah,
Um,
I'll show you to it.
and yeah, and link that onto your private mind game channel. So pin it on there,
Yeah.
right?
So one second, I'm trying to get my eyes to focus. I'm like, I Kills and I were taking a nap because like I'm exhausted. I was exhausted, so
You like get home early on Wednesdays?
yeah,
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
yeah. So
Interesting.
like Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays can be anywhere between 8 and 12 hours, and then like Wednesday and Friday are going to be anywhere between like 4 and like 5 hours
Mm,
usually.
okay, that's nice.
Yeah, so it's kind of like working like 3 10s and then like 2 5s.
Mm. Do you still work? Do you work weekends? Is that what's happening?
Um, no, I work like Wednesday, Fridays. So like so like you end up getting roughly 40 per week.
Okay, it's the same, but like because you just work
You're
more on
you're
some
doing like
days.
10, yeah, you're doing
Yeah.
like extra hours on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and less hours on Wednesday and Friday because you're making up for them on the other days.
Okay. I'm gonna have to edit all of that out of the. Talk you about your personal info to the world. Know that I'm
What?
recording.
Oh, okay.
Right, right.
Oh, I forgot that you started that.
Mhm. Um,
You can just restart it, honestly.
God, Lear, God, why do you have to make everything so complicated?
Wouldn't
No,
that be easier than
no.
editing it out?
It can be. It just kind of depends. But okay. Anyway, all right. So you're okay with being called Lear, right? Like your
Yes.
character.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Or I mean, if you want, you can do the full. I mean, I guess the full title probably is a little overly formal for most settings, right?
Oh, you want me to call you? No. But the thing is that you're not him currently because you're playing in
Oh,
history
okay,
anyway.
cool. Okay, get it. Okay.
Mhm. I do sometimes just call you your character name. Sometimes I usually save like the actual in-game like title and reference to like basically acknowledge the fact that we're talking in character. Sometimes I'll do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it just kind of depends. We'll get a flow for it. Me and you are kind of do have to do like a back and forth dance about what we care about and what helps us
Yeah.
play the game. Mhm. Um. Okay, so I wanted to take liberty. Remember, this is your red spawn, so like you can change details
Mm-hmm.
as we go along. So I wanted to give you kind of like a child of love storyline. And I
Okay.
want to. So what that means is like your mother you don't have no connection to your father, right? Your mother just kind of like had you out of love,
Okay.
right? But because of that, the father is not there. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Cool. All right. Um. Okay. So that being acknowledged, uh, the other question I wanted to ask too was the character inspirations that we
Mm-hmm.
discussed. So we have this like idea of your character. You never confirmed whether or not you wanted to be a big character. Actually, let's go back over that real quick. I'm assuming that you want to be a large character. So when I say that,
It makes
when you're an
sense.
adult, you're like even bigger than normal. Like you're huge, right?
Okay.
Instead of like in real life, it would be like instead of like 5'11" being the standard, you're like a fucking like 6'7" guy, and you're huge and proportional,
Okay.
right? You're like Herculean, if you will.
Okay.
Are you? Does that jive?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Um. So we have that, and then the other part is so we're kind of like Galio-esque in the sense that we can like take in combat really well, take the damage,
Hmm.
like we were saying. But I know you like Kale. Did you want to be more Kale in terms of it's like vanilla, like I'm a good guy? I know Kale has a little
Hmm.
bit more tied in there with Fury. I'm kind of leaving that part out. Are you okay with being like
Yeah.
the angelic guardian? Is that kind of what you're going for?
I don't think necessarily. I think maybe for a certain degree,
Because I know
I
you're
get
like a
what you're
super good
saying.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I want to know
I
if
don't
that's
know
part of
if
your
there has.
fantasy.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it has to be an angelic-esque.
Okay,
But
so you
yeah, like an
prefer
inherently
not
good.
being angelic esque.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's all I need to know. Um, we can run it either way, right? It doesn't. It's just I'm just trying to get a feel for what you're
Hmm.
intending the character to be like.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's all I need for that, I think. And then any particular features that you want your character to have, like appearance wise. I gave
Hmm.
you your defaults. Did you read them?
Yeah, where I can't find them. I was looking for them right now.
So
Where in the world did they go?
it's purple eyes, right? Purple eyes, fair skin, and brown hair was your defaults.
Okay.
Does that sound okay to you?
Sure.
Obviously, again, you're large charactered with these features.
Hmm.
Okay, so you like that? You don't want to change it?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna spawn you in. I think I decided 6.
Yeah.
I could technically spawn you in younger than that, but some players struggle with that kind of gameplay. You might not, but either way, I'm gonna be spawning you into the action because I need to train you a little bit out of the RTS.
Right.
Just know that usually your actual like the spawn in date is the spawn in date. That's when you're actually spawning. That's the age, right? That's 16. 16 is always spawn
Right.
in age. But
Right. And so this is kind of like a pre
yeah, when
like
I say
act
spawn age now,
story.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
talking about the age spawn in, and the age spawn in, like when you actually get your conscious, that's like kind of like telling you your intel stat. So your true spawn is at like around 4, but I'm spawning
Hmm.
you in at 6 because I don't know. I think you might struggle a little bit with like true
Right.
child play.
Yeah.
Um,
I think so.
so I'm gonna let you know a little bit about yourself. You can tell me if you have a problem with anything I'm saying. Interrupt me before I move on to the next thing, preferably.
Okay.
That might be hard for you because you don't like
I
interrupting.
did already think of something
All right,
ahead
go
of
ahead.
time
Mm-hmm.
because I know you were talking about how you can have a list of like for example natural enemies or allies in that sort.
Yeah.
I think I would probably struggle a lot with like any sort of like love interest. I don't really care to like do that. I mean mostly just for like the I guess for like where I am in my normal life, like that just seems a little bit too even further outside of like my ability to like connect and relate to be able to do that.
Okay. So I will iterate this mind game.
Yeah.
The reason why I call it legacy mind game is
All
because the
right.
intention is that you're living multiple lifetimes. So if you're playing
Right.
successfully, you're surviving and spreading offspring so that the next
Okay.
generation you can play as well.
Yeah. And I
Right?
guess I could to a
So
degree, but I didn't really wasn't sure to what
so
specificity that goes, if
yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense.
I understand how that this could seem like a problem for you. I'm reassuring you. You don't have to play any love scenes. You don't have to do any of that. This is kind of almost like
Right.
you can almost view your love interest as almost like a cheat code. You could just
Right.
strictly use it as like this is gonna sound really rude, almost like a breeding pig. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't actually have to spend most.
Yeah.
Most like medieval men would almost use them as like a trading item. You can go that route as well. Yeah, and you can
Right.
be
Of like a
nicer.
more matter of factly,
Right, right, and you can be nicer than what I'm suggesting. But what I'm trying to say is you don't
yeah.
have to spend. You can spend as little or as much time into it as you wish. You don't have
Okay.
to view it
Yeah.
as like an actual like scenic thing. You don't have to play it.
Right.
Right.
Okay, I think that's fine. Like I just didn't want to go through that. I think maybe what was reminding me of that is I can't remember who I who I barged in that one time, but I think they were a little bit more into to playing out those sorts of scenes.
Right, that's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Me and you are working together here. Whatever gets us
Yeah.
to the next page where we can have fun. That's what I'm worried about.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess what I was saying is I'm pretty sure if I go through like if I were to play that out, I wouldn't have fun with it. I
Right.
don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. I could tell. I could tell that just off of the fact that like whenever I post you like random pictures, you're already getting a little annoyed.
Random pictures.
I know the random bullshit that I be posting.
Oh, well,
You
I
know what
don't
I'm talking about.
know.
You fucking sure. You're like, oh, maybe
Art?
not that, Michelle. Maybe not that. Maybe no, you don't send
Oh,
me
the
that stuff.
art?
Yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah,
okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Specific types. Okay.
Right, right.
Yeah,
But
okay.
so yeah, I already predicted that that would be a thing. So no worries on that
Oh my
department.
goodness.
But
He
don't.
knew.
But yeah, I'm saying, well, because we've known each other for so
Oh,
long.
I know.
But
Yeah.
just whenever that kind of thing happens, feel free to like inform me if you think I'm doing something that you prefer not to. Feel free to do that, right? But there is okay, so there is some shit that I would get annoyed, and it's mostly due to like I'm describing a very evil world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like if the thing that you're annoyed at, like we can skip through some shit just so I don't have to get so descriptive, right? You could be like, I get it,
Okay.
right? And I'll
Mm-hmm.
usually stop there, but I do need to be able to portray the evil thing on occasion, right? Like if I'm describing like a particularly visceral thing, I can sometimes kind of like bypass it a little bit. I can like keep it moving a little bit faster, but I need to get through it.
Yeah.
Right, right.
I think that's not gonna necessarily bother me. But I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. I guess I'll just let you know if it does.
Right,
But like
right.
I don't think that sort of thing
Mhm.
will
We'll
get
see.
to me
Yeah,
at all.
I've had players that get squeamish. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like, and then that kind of becomes a problem because if I have to just avoid all problems, that becomes an issue.
Yeah, I get what
Right.
you're saying. I don't
Mhm.
think that would likely get to me as much, but I mean, I I guess it was specifically I just didn't have a lot of interest in that one specific area.
Mhm. That's good. All right. Cool. Cool. How do I want to do this? All right. So, I have you read the basic background that I gave you? So I don't have to go over that basic stuff.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So your mother's name is Asteria. Ester. She is a flower girl, as we discussed. That's kind of what she does, right? So
Mm-hmm.
your first memory is going to be of you lying in bed, and at this time, you guys are like poor, so you two live in like the same, um, even the same bed at the moment, but that's just because you're so young.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
remember, we're six, right?
Right.
But you're already kind of almost there at adulthood, right? She's kind of been pushing you out the door and getting you to do things. So you've already kind of like worked at like a lumber yard or just like kind of random things, seeing what you like.
Mm-hmm.
But one night, you're feeling particularly strong about kind of wanting to learn about who your father is, right? Because
Okay.
it's just something that's curious to you. So your mother she just went to sleep. You know that she has to wake up early, um, just because she needs to get up into that morning air. She has some kind of rush. You're not sure why. Um, but you know that she needs her sleep. Would you wake her? You're really, like I said,
No.
you're really curious about it.
Oh, okay. Hmm. Oh, so I ask myself if I'm curious, and I am, so I'll wake her up.
Okay. Uh, she nods awake slowly. You don't see her face, but she answers. Um, yes, Lear. What do you need?
I wanted to know more about my father.
Her voice gets quieter as and you can hear her kind of like sighing a little bit, and she says, This again?
I don't remember you telling me very much.
She goes ahead and like swivels about and lights a little candle nearby, um, on the nightstand. So she kind of like reaches over you when she does that.
Hmm.
Um, your mother is a very like kind of plain girl. You wouldn't. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily think that now, but you would think that in the future.
Hmm.
Um, but she kind of like pats you on the head and says, "My sweet child, um, your father is um, well, I mean, obviously he's not here." She kind of like looks at you, curious to see what you're looking for.
Where is he?
Um, you know that how we live on a flying rock?
Yes.
He's on one that's named Paytol.
Where's Paytol?
She thinks on it. I think he said that it's flying somewhere north of us in formation.
Can we go there?
No, sweet child, we're human.
It, is my father not a human then?
Oh, he is. She like nods to herself slowly, but he's from a special clan. They have permission to travel between the Terras.
What is the clan?
They call them the Duero.
How come I've never? Or I'm taking that back because that doesn't quite make sense. Can you tell me more about them?
Well, she thinks on it. Only know what he told me. I remember him saying that they were a meritocracy. She says, confused, as if the word is too hard for her to say. You know what
Well,
that
do you
is, right,
think
Leer?
I'll be? No, I don't.
You don't know what a meritocracy is?
Maybe I didn't hear you right either.
Okay, so a meritocracy is like I mean she's gonna explain it, right? But we're gonna go ahead and just tell everybody what it
Yeah.
is. So a meritocracy is when you value the individual skill over any kind of
Okay.
like social status, right? So like
Okay.
the best lumberjack is strictly the leader of lumberjacks,
Okay. Yeah.
right? They
Okay.
believe in that kind of concept.
Yeah. I just didn't know there was a word for it.
Yeah, she's always pushed you to kind of be good at something. This might be why.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess I would have asked what a meritocracy is because I really don't. I didn't know what it was anyway. It, in the canonically either.
Mhm. So yeah, she would reinforce what I just said basically.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so she would say, your your father was a unique man. He kind of led the division that came here. I couldn't tell you what he did though for the life of me, but he was a big man. I'm sure you will be too.
I want to be tall.
You just say that? I want to be
Yes,
tall.
I've talked to 6-year-olds. I know what they'd say.
And you will be, I'm sure. She like pokes at your nose.
Uh, well, are you gonna get up with me?
Get up for what? We need to rest.
I ask myself if I feel tired.
You do, but you're enjoying learning about this stuff. She hasn't ever been open about it in the past. Do you think because you weren't like
Okay.
quite listening yet?
Could you stay up for a little longer?
She looks at you in a sweet manner. Of course. What else do you want to know? She embraced you in like a deep hug. You get smushed a
Hmm.
little bit. You will remember this fondly when you grow up.
Okay. Can you
Oh,
tell
that's
me
right.
more?
The
Okay.
meritocracy thing. I remember. I see. I have to like remember stuff because if I think
Yeah.
about it all day, I forget random shit.
Hmm.
So she mentions. She says, Um, you know, your father really valued the people's skills so highly that he actually chose me simply because I was the best at arranging the flowers.
And I'm assuming that she still is,
Yeah.
correct?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Which is
okay.
why she gets up super early in the
Yeah,
morning to go pick before the
yeah, okay.
rest.
Okay. Well, I enjoy all the flowers too.
Thank you, she says. What do you think
How
you'll do?
how I think I'll travel the world someday,
Hmm.
but I'm not ready.
Maybe when the world's built, that would be a good goal to have. I'm sure there'll be tons of people wanting to be explorers, but you'll be the best, won't you?
Yes.
Um, she's referring to the fact that the world is actually not completed. That's why you're on a Terra.
Okay.
The world is uh, um actually not together. Like if you think of the globe,
Mm-hmm.
it's like sporadically broken and just split in like this
Right.
ambiguous space. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
So you would have come to learn about that. So at some point, everything that's flying right now will
Mm-hmm.
land and come together, almost like a giant puzzle.
Okay.
And currently, uh, one of the second puzzle is about to complete, or not about to complete, like in your lifetime. It's going to be completed
Mm-hmm.
in your lifetime, right? And then
Okay.
one of the puzzle is already down.
Okay.
Mhm.
When you say the puzzle, you mean pieces of like land
I'm
or?
talking about whole continents. So like a
Oh,
whole
okay. Okay.
continent is already down.
Okay.
Mhm. And then a second continent is landing, and you're the third continent.
Okay.
Or sorry, no, you're going to be the fourth continent.
But I don't know that, or do I understand that?
Yeah, it's up to you. I presume that you would because you're an explorer. So this is kind of like
Okay.
since you said that's your goal, right? I'm basically giving you new info that's related.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know if I was learning that now or if I
Yeah, yeah.
already.
If I
Okay.
tell you it, you can use it
Okay.
essentially. Mhm.
Okay. So I'll tell my mother that I want to go to the fourth puzzle piece, right?
You are the
That's the
fourth
term.
puzzle piece.
Oh, I'm the fourth. Oh, I want to go the fifth.
No, you want to go explore the first, second, and
Oh,
third.
okay. I need to see those before I get over to those. I need to
Mhm.
set some smaller sites then, apparently.
Well, no. It's remember
Yeah,
you're
it doesn't exist. Yeah.
right, exactly. That and
Yeah.
your Terra when it lands, that's when you actually get to explore. You get to move, right? Because you're a human, so you're not allowed to
I
go
have no way of getting there.
until it
Okay.
lands. Hmm.
Okay.
Supposedly, that's I mean that's what she's saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in that case, since I don't know when it lands, I'll just ask. When is it going to land?
Um she she doesn't know herself the exact date if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
Hmm.
Do you
But
think I'll be ready when it does?
of course. Um you're going to be great, I'm sure. Exploring and you'll be fine until then. And we'll survive. We'll make our way.
Can you tell me more about the other puzzle pieces?
This is this would have been a good question for your father. I wish I asked him more about the other Terra, but to be honest, I didn't really think of that when I was talking with him.
So he's already been to other Terra?
Like I said, he's got that like special pass. She gives you a big smile. It's really rare from what I understand.
Hmm.
He would have took me with him if he could.
All right. Well,
And she
'cause I
clarifies, and obviously you too. You were but a
all right.
babe in my stomach when he left.
All right. So I I assume I'm pretty intrigued, but I'm probably getting tired as time goes on. So I'm gonna ask, can we talk more tomorrow?
So your character wisdom would kick in and say that if you have any
Okay.
questions for her, now is the time to ask because you
Now's
rarely
the
see
time to
her.
ask.
Mhm.
Okay. Hmm. In that case.
Right. Remember, you're soon an adult and you're already doing like adult things.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Um, well, I thought you so 6 is more like akin to a teenager then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I was a little lost.
Mhm.
I guess I'm still not used to the different time ages.
Yeah, you're good. A lot of people are staggered by the adultness of children. Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Well, all right. I need to like refocus then. You know, have I at this point started I've already started training to some degree, right?
No,
Or
you
have I already
haven't.
been I'm about to start training.
Yeah, the next scene is going to be in combat for sure.
Okay.
But
So,
but this scene is before you've joined.
okay. So I guess I guess ask I'll ask if he was a guardian.
Uh, she she kind of seems surprised that you know that term, um, and she says,
Okay.
"No, he wasn't. But is that what you want to be instead of an explorer?" She says the Guardians are are like an elite warrior force that serve the Abysmals here.
Yeah. Well, d um won't there be a need for guardians across the puzzle piece when it lands?
I think that the humans from those clans can guard
Yeah.
themselves just well, but she like sees your face and goes, "Oh no, I mean, I'm sure you could travel around as a guardian, of course."
Good. Because because uh I want to do both.
um, and she says, "And I'm sure you'll find a way. Just keep pushing for it. Whatever you want to do."
All right. Um what does pay tall mean?
Paytal is the Terra that I think your father's from.
Oh, okay. Well, what was his name? Sorry, I thought that was his name.
Hmm. Um, I
So
think.
what was his name?
I mean, I just called him John.
Okay.
She looks at you and says, "Oh, he had your eyes and he was tattooed.
Okay. What was his tattoo?
It was very symmetrical. It looked really cool. I think there may have been a picture of like a gate or something like that."
Okay. Do you know where the gate led to, or what it represented?
And she shakes her head. He wouldn't tell me.
Is there anyone else that that has met him that I know?
Um, funny enough, I think that he did talk to some of the guardians.
Was you said he was only here for a short time.
Mm,
What,
hmm.
correct? What brought him here?
About a year or so. um, I don't know. He wasn't allowed to tell me.
Hmm.
Or maybe it was just that he didn't have time to tell me. I wish I
Hmm.
knew more on the subject. I'm sorry.
Okay. Um, I guess I'll lean towards like my wisdom to see if there's like really anything more that I feel like I can get out of the conversation.
Mm-mm. No, you've done excellently. You think you're
Okay.
you're ready for some sleep?
Yes.
Okay. So you fall asleep, and then time passes. You're doing your thing. Is
Mhm.
there anything you want to tell me that you were focused on, like any small jobs that you actually would think you would care about before you turn into a
Okay.
guardian, right? In quotes.
Like as in like certain tasks.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I would need to know more of like
Your
the
Terra.
different main roles in the Terra.
Right, so think of your Terra as like a city. It's like a mega
Hmm.
city. It's super
Okay.
diverse. There's a lot of options of random things you can learn, and it's super
Okay.
accessible. So like you literally can choose a thing and it's there because it's a city.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um,
You can learn
it
how to
might,
like paper make. You could be like a smith's apprentice. You could.
it might make a lot of sense to, especially with the other thematic things from my character, being the month, and also with my mother's background being in flowers, to have some sort of plant related knowledge.
You want to learn how to farm.
Um, more so maybe like
Farmer is
more
a
on the
far just as a side note, farming is like a thing that people are trying to train people in because when the
right,
Terra lands, the first thing that the humans have to do is they have to go and colonize. So they need a
right,
lot of farmers.
right.
Hmm. So that
I
is
think
something that they will, they want people to
yeah,
learn.
I think that's good, but I think maybe I was thinking more along the lines of like I'm assuming that there's always some sort of like m medicinal-esque um plants,
Hmm.
and kind of like learning to
So there is.
identify and or gather them from like around the
Well, hold on. So
kind of the
there is
outside.
the actual medicine that you can learn. You can learn how to do medicine. Is that more
Hmm.
what you're trying to do? Like an actual like I mean you would be learning like field medicine first. So like
Right.
how to treat a wound, how to carry a person. They would teach you that stuff if that's something you're interested
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know where the medicine was in that sense, because I
Treat
didn't know like what the plants what plants are capable of in
mhm.
the world.
So when you're coming into mind game, try to go for your actual option and then let me
Okay.
correct you.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in that sense then like if I were to think of a certain setting, I'd be thinking of like, oh, I need to know what these plants are because they're going to be useful for me um as like
Right, but are you viewing that?
healing
But I'm,
type
I'm
things.
asking you if
Yeah.
you're
I
viewing
think
that as
less of
in.
a farming thing and more of a medicine thing.
Well, hold on. So that's what I'm trying to clarify.
Yeah.
Are you saying that as in like you want to learn herbology, like you just want to learn herbology, or are you actually trying to learn medicine? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Hmm.
Right? What's your actual goal here? Is it
Yeah,
herbology?
I guess just a lot of knowledge just in plants. Like I guess
Okay, so
it
herbology.
might be pretty general. Yeah, it might not necessarily be farming specific,
Hmm.
but just plants in general.
Well,
And
no,
maybe it
these
gets
are different skills. So like farming is a
yeah.
different skill from herbology, which is a different skill from medicine.
Yeah, herbology would probably be it.
Okay. Um. All right. Fair. So you would go out as a flower picker with your mother, presumably? But you're
Hmm.
like more focused on like what flower is what versus what she's doing, which is
Right.
like making a pretty arrangement.
Yeah, like I want to know what all the different ones are, and what everything what everything that's growing is.
Excellent. So you find yourself working the fields with your mother?
Hmm.
Or not the fields, but you get what I'm saying, working the the flower fields, right? Not like fields. Anyway, the meadows. There we go. You find yourself working the
Yeah.
meadows with your mother, and
Hmm.
so this is like around 7.5 or so, and you have picked
Hmm.
up by this point you have picked up journeyman herbology. You're a pretty
Okay.
quick guy. You can kind of learn this
Okay.
stuff. Um, so one day a shadow looms over you, and the Terras have started to land in your
Okay.
section, right? They're kind of like around. So
Okay.
some pieces, not your Terra specifically, your Terra is still finding its spot, but
Mhm.
most of the world landscape when you look off the edge has been like formed at this point,
Mhm.
and you see the shadow loom over you, like I said, and that you hear like this crashing, like this monumentous, thunderous crash, like right,
Mhm.
and boulders start to like land like around you guys, and your mother, she's like, "What the hell is that?" Right, and you
Mhm.
look up and you would see this fucking huge Malphite-esque, right? This huge
Okay.
stone elemental just fucking punching the face of a giant demon, like equally
Okay.
Titan-esque, right? Demon.
Okay.
Um, and this would be like, I mean, you know, their fucking face is the size of like a skyscraper, right? They're huge. And they're like fighting on the landscape of that broken world, right?
Mhm.
And the elementals like rocks are raining down on you guys.
Mhm.
Uh, your mother would be panicked. You would presumably be panicked, but your
Mhm.
character is more like focused on what's
Right.
happening. Your mother is like legit like scared, right?
Right.
Um, so you see all this wreckage and this destruction happening. What do you do?
Mhm. I'm obviously going to go to my mother to uh help her get to safety. Or try to find the best safety. I guess I survey the area to see if there's any sort of possible
So
um
you see some guardians entering the scene, and
mhm.
they're like trying to yell over this thunder, but you obviously know that they can't
Mhm.
really out yell the fucking huge
Right.
Titan fight. But they're trying to like direct people out and away from this area.
Mhm.
And you see that your mother, she's like on the far end of the meadow, closer towards
Mhm.
the edge. You suspect? Can you guess?
I suspect
Mhm.
what do you mean by that?
Okay, so I was just seeing if you're already reading the cues. So you suspect your character wisdom would kick
Mhm.
in that
Right.
because of her proximity to the edging and the size of
Mhm.
these boulders that are crashing, it's very
Mhm.
likely that her entire ledge breaks off.
Right. Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking it was heading towards.
Mhm.
So is that like general mechanic?
What's a general mechanic?
Like suspecting?
Oh yeah, if you can beat me to the cut, that increases certain stats.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. So like
So
you don't necessarily want to interrupt me with anything that crosses your mind, but if you're certain that you have like the good guess, you should do it.
okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, because basically what was already going through my mind is I can do the extremely risky thing and go over there suspecting that something I can do it before the bad thing
Hmm. That's what your
might
character wants to
happen.
do.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going towards.
Okay, so you rush to your mother.
Yes.
All right, so you're rushing to your mother, right? You see these like the fucking shadows rolling across the sky or like across the floor
Hmm.
in front of you, and you can tell like you're like kind of like sussing it out. You can tell that there's going to be like a rainstorm just ahead of you. Do you stop?
Okay. Of like water, or you mean rainstorm of like stone?
Stone.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
should I call it a meteor shower? Is that better?
Yeah, yeah, because I was thinking like, okay, well, that's a lot less threatening than
Yeah,
all
there.
of this other stuff going.
It's not currently raining.
Okay. All right. That seems quite a bit more dangerous. So I I'm suspecting that or I'm reasoning to it's like immediate, nearly immediate to the point that I don't think that I can get there in time.
You suspect that if you stop, you can. By the way, you can see like the earth heaving like off the edge already, so it's like already
Mm-hmm.
cracking. Your mother's already lost, like losing her balance. She's not quite able to like jog
Mm-hmm.
towards you. You suspect that if you like in this moment, if you stop to make sure you don't get hit by this meteor shower, it's very potentially the last time you get the chance to actually get there. You're not sure,
Hmm.
right? You're a
I'm not
child
sure.
still,
Yeah.
but you think it's accurate.
Mm.
It's obviously
I
way safer for you if you stop. And right?
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I Hmm. Yeah, so that's a pretty big decision. So, but I might not always do this, but I'm gonna say in this scenario with the little bit of I'm just gonna assume that like I can tell that there's such a low likelihood of me being able to actually make a difference. I'm going to very regrettably, and I know at the time I'm going to regret it, but have to s- to stop and go with everyone else to safety. But I'm
Oh.
very like upset by it.
Okay, so you like you stop,
Yeah,
you don't get hit by the meteor shower. You can see that the meteor shower was a quick one. It landed.
yeah.
Your mother is like
I'm not
going
even gonna
off.
look. I can't
Oh.
look. I can't look. I'm too upset.
And just like that, right? You turn,
I already know it's too late
you turn
in
it,
my mind. Yeah.
and you're just like visualizing her like
Yeah,
screaming,
I have to
right?
visualize it. Yeah,
You
I
cry
know.
as
I
you.
can't see it, but I know.
Mhm.
Right.
You end up running away.
Hmm.
Um, this becomes a major regret for your character in the future for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So shortly thereafter, you would have been captured by the Guardians. Um, they one of them saw what happened, and like he tries to reassure you and tell you you made the right decision. There was no way you would have survived, right? But
Hmm.
you hear those words, it's like on deaf ears. You can't,
Right.
like, it just feels awful.
Right.
um but but yeah, so you continue. You find it hard to continue, I'm sure.
Hmm.
Your next cycle of life sucks because you're like that depressed kid that let his mother
Hmm.
die.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but eventually you get to be an adult. Are you
Hmm.
still feeling guardian-y?
Yeah. I think that that's haunting me, and I'm like I have to do better.
Okay, so you're viewing this as like so your ultimate turnaround from this is like,
Hmm.
I'm not gonna let another person die. Are you going that
Yeah.
angle?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So you like re-steel yourself. You spend that year doing the herbology, kind of like biding your time until you're like officially an adult.
Hmm.
And then when you go to make that vow to become a guardian,
Hmm.
you haven't done it yet, right? Obviously, you join
Right.
to the recruiting, but you do your own little private vow at your house.
To myself. Yeah.
Yeah, with your single candle. And it's like a little bit just oversized because it used to be your mother's house.
Hmm.
That's the way they repaid. They basically gave you her things, right? It wasn't much,
Hmm.
but the house was included. I assume you don't move out of it
Yeah.
anyway.
No.
So you go through the training course, right? They're on you day one, right? It's military training, so
Hmm.
they're on you. They're fucking making you work. They're making you work for it. Uh, Sometimes they give you days off, and the days off are helping the farmers farm.
Hmm.
But like the heavy shit, they're not actually teaching you anything. Uh,
Right.
and they'll also bring you through the cities and kind of like make you like almost like a mule, like carry carts back and forth for
Hmm.
random shit. All strength training, right? Um, so they're on you, they're on you, they're on you. They're training you. You kind of presumably you stick with it.
Yes.
um, hmm, I gotta.
Did you not?
Yeah, I was really expecting you to save the mother, so I have to replan here. Hold on.
Yeah, break some
Yeah,
expectations.
yeah. This is why you never plan too heavily as a DM, by the way. But anyway,
Yeah.
um,
I thought about going for it because like, but I knew I would be metagaming in that, and I was just going to not do that.
no, it's good. It's good that you're. Just remember. Okay, I need. Well, maybe this needs to be said too, because it sounds like you weighed the options. I need you to always do what you think, like your fantasy, right? So if your fantasy is
Hmm.
I want to be the brave motherfucker who goes out there, be
Yeah.
that fantasy.
Yeah.
you don't have to be
I think
realistic
in
at all
this
times.
yeah. Yeah, but I think also in this scenario, my character isn't there yet, right? And it would be like the I don't know if you want to call it like a saving. I guess this idea is like a saving throw, right?
Hmm.
But I guess I was knowing that you would generally speaking, and maybe this comes also from like reading the guy a little bit, is like if there's something that's outer worldly, and I at this point I'm nothing special.
Yeah, which you definitely just
I
experience.
what?
Which you definitely just experience, right? Like Titan fight, and then yeah.
Yeah, that's like outer worldly. Like I can't compete with that at this moment.
Mm-mm.
You know, I don't have any experience. You know, my character knows I don't have any experience with that. So, um, I think it makes a lot of sense to not
Yeah, I mean,
go
yeah,
for it.
you weren't being. No one was asking you to go fight the Titans, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think even just like the aftermath of it is like the idea that there's like a full mobilization of like people trying to escape and like rescue others is kind of like
Hmm. No, like I said, if that's the
yeah,
decision, you're solid. I mean,
yeah.
we made a good turnaround with the whole. We're using
Hmm.
this as the reason for you
Yep.
not letting anyone else die. That's good
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Yeah, I was also just giving you my thought process a little bit.
Hmm. Um. Okay. So.
Because I think the goal is to get to that point. It's just that I want I want my character to know I get to that point.
Mhm.
Not just like I this event happened and then suddenly everything was fixed.
Yeah. Um. Okay. So things that you probably should know. Your
Mhm.
Terra's name is Guardwan. So that's the Terra you're from. Is there as you're like growing up, right?
Are you on am I on you're not on the same sheet, are you? Are you oh no, you didn't type. I thought you were just going to type right into the sheet. Never mind.
No,
Got it.
I only do that when I know where it belongs because I don't want to confuse you.
Okay.
By the way, you double click into the box in order to copy paste. That's what you're doing. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's your home Terra. You know,
Okay.
do you remember your father's Terra?
Yeah, I wrote it down. It was Paytol, right?
All right, give it a shot. What do you think it's spelled like?
Paytol.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. I don't expect people to know how I type stuff, but pay. So you'll eventually get a hang of how I decide to
Hmm.
type shit. I'm sure some people do,
Okay.
but but yeah. So that's how Terras are named. They're named like this.
Okay.
They always carry that kind of that. So right, like Guardwan. So it's like Guardian One, and then
Hmm.
Pay Toll, which is like pay toll,
Hmm.
right? I kind of do that naming scheme of like word combined and slightly skewed
Hmm.
for Terras.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so that's good information to have. So as you grow up and you're part of the Guardian Corps and you're like a star pupil, right? Like you're doing your thing. You're
Yeah.
really fucking you're on it, right?
Hmm.
Um, and by the way, do you still practice your herbology on your very minute free time, or and this is the competition? Do
Hmm.
you practice like essentially you can go to like a school in quotes. You have to really push it and like lose some of your sleeping time. So you legit get
Go
drained
to a
going into
school
the.
for what?
So
For herbology?
the school presumably would be for like tactics, like leadership school, essentially.
Okay. I think that I give up some of the herbology stuff for the school.
Okay, so your herbology would definitely drain toward to an
Hmm.
apprentice level, and you would get tactics to presumably a journeyman level. Um,
Okay.
and tactics is kind of combined with command loosely, right? So like your command skill is also journeyman, right? Um,
Okay.
so um, you find I mean you're a smart individual here. So I'm kind of just giving you intel and wisdom stats, right? Naturally.
Hmm.
So just so you know. So you're kind of going through school well, and you're fucking nailing the tank stuff, and that's just coming off of how much I know you play
Mm-hmm.
tanks and initiators from
Yeah.
League, right? So I'm kind of just influencing that a bit, just so you know. Usually I would be
Yeah.
like testing people,
To
doing
find
little
out. Yeah.
right, but I already know you so well. I can kind of I'm pretty sure I can just do that.
Yeah.
But I'm letting you know that is I'm
That's
doing that.
happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So now comes the real another real test, similar to how I forced you to decide between a few skills earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that it will get you better charisma, literally better
Mm-hmm.
charisma, and more command, more leadership, but less tactic, less like strict book knowledge if you
Mm-hmm.
acquire yourself a love interest. Again, we've discussed
Okay.
this. You don't have to
Right.
do that play, but would you make the sacrifice? Would you like go for the girl in order to get
Mm-hmm.
that bonus to like charisma
Yeah.
and stuff?
Yeah, but it's a sacrifice of tactics.
Yeah, it would be at a sacrifice of your actual school learning. The reasoning for that
Yeah.
is you would be moving up the social ladder and
Right.
sacrificing your school hours.
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm not going to sacrifice any school hours. I'm just going to go hard into that.
Okay, so you ignore that potential social climb, which would again
Mm-hmm.
affect your charisma and all that.
Right.
You're okay with that? More book.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe at a later time maybe I go back. I mean,
No,
it's not
no,
like
it would be
it's my
a it
only
would no, it
opportunity.
would be a now thing because
Oh, it's like a
you
now or never.
right. Well, this particular type of choice is now or never because so your character kind of understands it in a more literal stance. Usually, I would fucking try to convince you to go for the girl, but obviously, we already discussed we're not doing that. But you're taking a more literal stance. So
Okay.
if you were to woo a woman, you want to do it
Mm-hmm.
when you're young. If because
Okay.
when you're old, you just basically buy them,
Okay.
right?
I see. Yeah.
So the social like interaction, like going to the ball, learning how to dress well, all of
Mm-hmm.
that takes time. So if
Right.
you're gonna invest that learning, that knowledge of how to be charismatic, now is the time to do
Mm-hmm.
it.
Right. Okay. I'm assuming it's just like a is it a more of a minor loss to the potential tactics more so, and
It
that
would
it's
bring you
probably like an
from
asymmetric.
yeah, so it is asymmetric in the sense that it would bring you to apprentice and tactician, but your command would go to like expert, right? Because that's part of charisma,
Okay.
right? So your speech, your ability to talk, your ability to like appear to others, that will go up.
Yeah, I guess in that sense that like I feel that I always have more time to work on tactics, but then since this is a little bit more time bound, then I will go ahead and go that the route of um oh what is it like courting? Is that what you
Yeah,
called it or
you're
what?
you're like courting essentially.
Yeah.
You're learning how to court.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so okay, cool. So you go for the court, you get that early girlfriend, you get that early charisma bonuses, right? You get all
Yeah.
that. So by the time that you're getting to where you would, is there anything else you want to throw in here? By the way, like soldier wise, I know. I mean, I already
Um.
know that you're going the Vanguard route and you're going the Vanguard scouting
Right.
route. On top of that,
Right.
you're learning the
Um.
tactician stuff, in schooling, and then you're also doing the
Right.
courting stuff. That's a lot of things under your plate, right? Just so we're
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
that's like pretty full.
right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with that being pretty full.
Mhm.
And not feeling like I have to fit extra stuff in.
Excellent. Okay. Um, so that I mean, yeah, that's basically that's your past. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you uh, would you feel nothing else, right? That you're good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at some point, and this might be at a later stage,
Mm-hmm.
on like where the artifactor
Yeah, the
comes
Nokane
in.
stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Nokane, yeah. So I'm assuming
That's your
that
next
happens at
scene.
a later date.
No, that's literally your
Um,
next scene.
okay, yeah. All right, good.
Mm-hmm. So we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we haven't talked much about races. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I threw around the word abysmal already at you.
May have.
Okay, so humans are the servants, like as a race, humans are the servants of another race that we term abysmals. Abysmals are like super elves, right? Essentially, in quotes.
Okay.
Okay.
How do you
Um,
spell that? A-V...
I got you. Hold on. Abysmal, like that. Whoops.
Okay.
No, sorry, that's wrong. I accidentally
Mm.
typoed. Abysmal, like that.
Oh, okay.
Um, but yeah, so they're like they were created to control all of the magic in the world.
Okay.
You guys were created to serve them in the physical realm, which is where you guys currently live, right? You're in the physical realm, but
Okay.
they control all of the magical forces, and
Okay.
they do that. They have access to like this fucking ridiculous amount of power, right? One abysmal could, in theory, annihilate your entire Terra,
Okay.
right? With like a throw of his hand.
Okay.
So they're
So
extremely
it's
dangerous.
more on God S scale then.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They're like the
Yeah.
god emperors of humanity.
Okay.
Um, so one of them has a child, the first abysmal child, um, ever born. Right.
Okay.
They take a long while to procreate, and apparently it's really hard for them to have children.
Mm-hmm.
You were tasked, as one of the others, to basically play with him.
Okay.
Okay, so he's like about your age,
Okay.
in theory. So when you were with him, he basically he doesn't have very good control over his power, and
Mm-hmm.
the way you found out about your ability is he essentially like threw out his power while all of you guys were kind of assembled, and
Okay.
most of you died. It was like a squad of like 20, but you survived, and you
Okay.
survived because you have this ability that they're calling Nokane. um that's when you figure out about it. It's literally
Okay.
because this kid couldn't fucking hold in his power and killed your
All right.
entire fucking squad,
All right.
essentially. Right. So he comes up to you. So we're playing like immediately after he just killed everybody. You managed to
Okay.
survive, right? So you have a lot of injuries on you,
Right.
off of like the spell like random effects that happened,
Yeah.
but not the actual spell itself, right? And we're gonna say it took the form of like a disintegration. So like people like vanished. Like they didn't so much vanish as they like turned to sawdust,
Okay.
right? And only parts of you were like scathed. So like only parts of you turned to sawdust. Not all of you. The majority of you stays fine, right? You were like intact.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how much power he let off. It was even with your like anti
Okay.
magic, you still like somewhat got killed in
Got
quotes,
wrecked. Yeah.
right? Um. Okay, so but yeah, so he goes up to you. He says, "Hey, human, you lived."
Um.
You like look to your right, where
I
your
love
one
it. I
of your
look around.
where your partner once stood.
Wait, wait.
He trained with you since the barracks when you were like 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are like
Yeah.
your
So
brothers.
So I. Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna ask like, what in the world are you doing?
um, the kid looks at you, right? Remember, he's like your age, right? So
Yeah.
you're both like 15 essentially. Um,
Mm-hmm. You're like young adult.
right. Well, no, you're a
Okay.
full blown adults. You've been
Full
adults.
adults.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He says, "I wanted to exercise some of my power. It's not my fault your men got in the way."
Don't you think that you should do that somewhere safely?
Where is safer than here? He looks around at this ritual ground that you guys are on. This is like a place where people practice some controlled magics.
Okay. Um. Must be someplace bigger than this because look at what you've done.
I thought we were to play a game. Didn't we say we were going to play at war? Excuse me.
Yeah, play, not kill.
Oh, human, you'll get over it. It's not
But
like we
they
would have
won't.
lived very long anyway.
um, you know, I th I don't think you can understand what it's like to be a human.
He looks at you curiously. Oh,
If you did, you would have seen what is what your actions has caused to the men around us.
he looks to you. He says, "Suspicious way to speak to your
Okay.
god king." He kind of sneers.
uh,
You
hmm.
know I'm next in line to rule this whole Terra, right?
Yes, and what is the point of ruling if you have no subjects?
Oh, hush now. You guys will procreate just fine on your own. Killing 10 of you is like swatting at a gnat. There will always be more.
But each person is unique. There might be more, but they won't be the same.
He kind of like goes up to you. He says, "My father says that a human is like an ant. You may look at their individual features and find something unique, but ultimately, they don't live very long."
Hmm. Um,
He says, "Are you gonna get up and play?"
I've had enough playing for today.
Uh, you're not allowed to just quit playing with me. I heard that I have you for as long as you can live.
But what does it matter to you? I thought I wasn't worth anything.
Well, you're worth even less when you're not playing with me.
Well, you'll hardly notice I'm gone.
Ugh. Fine, human. If you wish to leave, feel free. I guess I'll let you as a reward for surviving.
All right. So I guess in that case, I'll leave. Yeah, I'm gonna come back later, maybe. But I'm getting out of here.
You just did.
I'm like I don't want to be here.
Lear, you're not. I mean, you obviously you couldn't have saved them, right? You didn't know what was about
No,
to happen.
no, yo,
But
I'm yeah, like that's still pretty traumatic, right?
but
I mean,
but I'm saying you're not like mad. You're just you're
oh,
just
I'm mad. Oh yeah,
you're just
I'm mad.
leaving.
Yeah, like, well, like, there's other people still around, right?
No, it's just you and him.
Oh, I thought you said there was a couple other people.
Well, we had the squad, but they died.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought it was like half of them.
No, this is an empty
Um,
pavilion with just you and
okay,
the other
okay.
adults, right?
Well, I guess I don't. I guess I'm just gonna. I don't have to like or maybe I'll kind of revise that then to like tell them that I want to take a break then. Like I don't necessarily need to like full leave, but I was assuming that there's other people still around.
Wait, you go from quitting in quotes
Well, no,
to
well,
taking a
like not.
break?
I was thinking. Well, I was assuming like that other people were still around, and that like I'm worried that other people are going to get hurt. But if there's not other people still around, I guess I would like ask myself if I think it's like if I'm going to be safe, which I presume I am, um, because
I mean, you
I
actively
already
like,
survived,
yeah, you actively like took the spell. You know that it wasn't like a chance.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, but I don't know if I can repeat it because I'm pretty badly bruised up.
Mm-hmm. And he has
So
really powerful magic. Obviously, I mean, he's a abysmal, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Even
yeah,
apparently, even
yeah,
a child abysmal is powerful.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Because like on the one hand, I don't want to keep doing like I don't know if my body can sustain anything more, or I don't feel like I can sustain more based off of what just happened,
What I'm
at least at
curious
the
about
moment.
are you okay? So, because you said you are mad, but you're not
Oh
obviously.
yeah,
I know that you're like a low emo kind of person, but
yes.
but I'm not even getting like commands that would even
Okay.
say that you're mad. Like I'm not, I'm very
Hmm.
confused About like, are we like holding a grudge? Can you tell me what's happening?
Yeah, I guess it would be like more like I assume that since we like had grown up that like it would be not like something that weird to be like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow because today is not.
No, no, you haven't. You don't know this. This is the first day of this kid.
Oh, I thought you were saying that we had been like doing
Mm.
this for a while.
No, 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 no.
Oh, oh.
You and your squad have, some people, not all of them, but some of them, they've been training with you since they were young as well, right? So like,
Oh, I misread everything then.
okay, so clarify,
Oh, okay.
clarifying time. Whenever you think you don't understand something, feel free to clarify, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
so your squad of 20, which
Yeah.
isn't,
Those were the people who I've been with,
yeah,
not
not all of them
the
necessarily, but yeah, this is the
but
first day
yeah,
you've trained or played with this
with the
abysmal.
abysmal.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I was thinking that it was the other a little bit more the other way around.
No, yeah.
Okay. Okay, okay.
You guys basically went through
Ah.
like a meeting ceremony, an official like declaration that you guys are like his
Mhm.
personal guard essentially, and then he just like blew y'all up in like the first like hour.
Okay. Hmm. I guess in that case I'm going to pivot more to telling him that I mean I think the part about like the issue about like hey it's not okay with blowing people up and stuff, obviously that all still happened, but I think hitting the rewind to before the leaving bit.
Okay, just know that I don't normally allow rewinds.
I know
Okay,
that,
okay, all
yeah.
right. Just
Yeah,
so always
well
make sure
but
we
I felt
understand
like
what's
you were
happening.
thoroughly confused enough that
Just what I'm saying in the future, make sure you understand what's happening. Right? Feel free to
yeah,
clarify.
okay,
Yeah. All right.
all right,
So
what would be a good way to clarify
well, if
then?
you think you've misheard something, like make sure you understand what's happening. I can't do that for you. That's I tell you the
Okay.
information, and then you give me the answer,
I
right?
didn't know if there was like I didn't know if there was a mechanic such as suspecting that you wanted me to like use a technical term or not. But okay, I'll just ask
Mhm. Um. So yeah. So we'll wind it back to
before me dipping from
so
the see ya.
we'll wind it all the way back to you just everyone just
Okay.
blew up because I felt like that fucking response was just so fucking strange. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
I obviously didn't get
yeah, you didn't have enough info. You always make sure you have enough
yeah.
info.
Okay, okay.
So everyone just blew up. You look to your
Yes.
right where you're like the dude who was there since the
Yeah.
beginning. Is just gone now. He's just dust
He's
in the air.
eviscerated,
You're
yeah.
right. And then the invisible approaches you with a smirk on his face and he says, My, human, you managed to survive."
Oh, okay. Well, hmm. Sorry, I'm trying to to, to put back everything. All right, so this just happened. All right. I suppose I have, but the others weren't so lucky.
Ah, luck. That's a good way to put it, but I doubt that. You might have something of an ability. He looks about you.
Uh,
Something to do
Hmm.
with your purple eyes, perhaps.
I guess I'll look to my wisdom. So uh, I don't really see any other people with purple eyes then, I'm
Yeah,
assuming, like normally.
it's not at all
Okay.
existent. Mhm.
Okay. So it's a unique. My mother didn't have purple eyes then, I'm
Correct.
assuming. I didn't ask. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm like the only person I know. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, hmm. I I imagine there has to be more to it than just having purple eyes.
I'm sure there is. It probably runs in your blood and all over the rest of your vessel. However, none of that matters too much uh, for your friends, of course.
Is this a normal occurrence
He looks at you confused.
that everyone is constantly eviscerated in the training grounds?
Oh, No, I was warned against doing this kind of thing, but I wanted to see it for myself. You know, you hear about having awesome power, but how often do you get to flex it when we're stuck on these terras?
Do you think that that was a good use of your power?
He seems a little interested in what like your line of conversation. So
Hmm.
he says,
Yeah.
"Wouldn't you say so? Now I know what happens when I flex some of my power. It appears as though I can
No,
turn people to dust. Interesting.
no, because it turned innocent people to dust. People who were supposed to be here to help you.
They did help me. They let me discover my abilities.
What? But they could have continued to help you learn more alive than they will dead.
He thinks on it. He says, "You humans are pretty dull, so I doubt that."
Um. Hmm. I'm going to recall something about someone who I was with, like some sort of interesting fact of some sort. Is that something that I more ask, or more something I just assert?
You can do either or, depending on how comfortable you are with it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in this case, I'm just going to recall something that seemed notable to me, to my character.
Obviously, I don't know what you're going for, so this is one of those things where it helps me to know
Yeah,
your goal.
yeah. I mean, I guess I was something that I feel that um there was something that he could have learned from somebody, but obviously he can't because they're gone. Or maybe something special
Oh,
about them, or
you're
like their,
you're asking for like something you can like compare. I mean, you don't think he
or like,
cares,
you don't think, I don't think he cares. Okay.
right?
Maybe
Like
then
just from what he's been saying, it seems like he treats you guys as expendable, right?
as a sub. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So like as a
So like,
subclass.
you know,
Okay.
you could tell him that you know how to garden and perhaps one day
Yeah,
you
and
can
he'd
show
be
him a
like
flower.
unimpressed.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Hmm. So I guess in that case, he earlier said that like this is kind of like the first time he's tested his power,
Correct.
really. Um, yeah, I guess I'll ask him if he suppose, I mean, do you suppose that you're going to get in trouble for using your powers this way?
Um he turns around to like fix his outfit, like his sleeves in particular.
Hmm.
And when he has his back turned to you, he says, "Oh, I'm sure father might give me a scolding or two, but at the end of the day, what does it matter?"
Um, yeah, isn't it going to be a long time before your father lets you do anything?
A long time for me is truly a lifetime for you, isn't it?
Hmm.
The oldest abysmal is what, already nearing 2000.
Hmm.
The oldest
And
human has was buried over 2000 years ago.
all right, and we're both like the same age right now, correct?
Yeah, yeah, he's a but he would be considered a teen. You're considered a full-blown adult.
But the same age,
You're the
but
same
different
literal age, 15
ages in
years.
life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Hmm. You know, I'm going to I mean, do you what was the point of me being here if you value me so little?
You act as though I chose for you to come and play with me. This was a decision made above our heads.
Well, then there must be a purpose then.
I imagine my father wants me to learn a little bit of something about my subjects in the future place that I will eventually own. He turns back around, sneering at you. But I really think I'd prefer you to be buried, if I'm being perfectly honest. Though you being able to
Hmm.
survive my abilities makes me kind of want you as a personal lackey, maybe. Someone to
Hmm.
witness my destruction. How does that sound,
Okay.
human?
It sounds terrible that I'd have to tell my fellow people that we're under such
Oh
a
no, I
cruel
can't be having
abysmal.
that. You won't be my my scryer. You'll just be my witness.
But I have nothing to witness other than tragedy.
And witness it you shall.
Hmm.
Lear, what is happening?
I don't know. Hmm. I can be mad at him, but like,
What is happening? Okay, hold on. We might have a problem here. All right. All right, all right, all right. I need you to start envisioning yourself as a
okay,
champion, right? Like a strong,
okay,
truly, maybe even great person, right?
okay,
Okay, so we went through the childhood thing where you actively
okay,
saw that you could have saved your mother, maybe, right? And you
okay.
chose not to do it. Okay? And then we literally went over the fact that you're like this good guy who wants to save
Yes,
people. Okay. And
yeah,
now he's literally alone in a training ground with his
yes,
combat gear, looking at this guy who's dead ass to his face telling him he's going to murder his entire lineage. His entire fucking Terra worth of people. All the people on Gordwan are
right,
under threat of this guy's existence.
right.
And you're just gonna have a casual conversation about how maybe he should turn the other leaf. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, obviously my character didn't take the charisma stats. It's not working.
No, okay, like literally, okay, maybe it's that. Maybe you think that your charisma stat is like on that
So,
level. Okay, so let me clarify. At no point your charisma is a useful tool and will aid
right,
you a lot, but it can
right,
never turn someone against their own cause.
right.
Okay, never treat it
Yeah,
as like a I win stat.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. Well, I guess I was that's kind of like where the disconnect between like just not having experience in these sorts of
Yeah, yeah.
RPGs comes in. Yeah. So I mean, I guess I was also kind of like thinking that I am waiting to discover more before something else happens. But if this is kind of like I more or less had a moment of discovery, or a slight moment of discovery already at least. Um
What are we saying?
then well, I'm assuming, I guess, and more or less I'll have to use my wisdom to basically do I feel like I can do withstand that sort of power again.
You don't think he's not okay? So remember, you're a warrior. You've trained.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
you can tell me. I look at him. Do I think I could kill him right now? Like, if that's something you want to do, right? I would
Mhm.
I would tell you your character's thoughts on it. And the idea here is that he's a fucking child that uses magic, right?
Right.
And then you're a dude uses magic rarely, right? I mean, this is new for him. And then
Mhm.
you're a warrior, a trained warrior,
Mhm.
right? So, like, in theory, you could win this because you
Right.
fight,
Okay.
yeah. You
Yeah.
fight, and you like are kind of immune to him.
It,
You know what I mean?
immune
Kind of immune to him.
from
Yep.
the
Yeah.
but not from the from the magic, assuming from the but I was still pretty beat up though. I guess that's what I was leaning off of,
Well, yeah,
right?
but are you the type of person to get scared and back down? Is that what we're saying?
I maybe I didn't understand to what level the abysmals were at, and but so it sounded like
Well,
he it
that's
was
what I'm
his
trying to
first
tell you.
time.
Are we
Yeah.
saying that you're the type of character to get scared and back down? That's important
Mhm.
because like you're gonna I'm gonna present all kinds of fucking ridiculous out
Yeah.
there scenarios for you to fight. And if
Mhm.
you're like this dude who's supposed to be like this fucking courageous knight guy, and you're just like every time you look at a threat, you're like, that's a
Yeah,
problem.
I get that.
Okay.
I guess I was going more off of thinking that there's going to be like incremental things, right? And that's what I was playing off of, is that there's going to be like incremental
Yeah, 100%. So
victories.
I'm presenting this as though I'm presenting this as an opportunity to be a little bit devious, obviously, right? Because the
Yeah,
best case scenario here, I even turned his back to you, right? If you were like
right.
a more devious character, you could have took that moment to like put him in a stranglehold or something,
Accept,
right? And
like,
like choke him out to death or something.
right,
But that's my point. Is like I'm giving you opportunities
right,
to do things. It's up to you to choose what path is acceptable for you. But
right.
obviously, if there's a Saren of abysmal power level and he's already acknowledged you as an enemy and he's fucking
Hmm.
miles away casting spells at you, you probably lose that fight.
Right.
Right. But this isn't that scenario.
But
This
he's
is
right there.
right.
Yeah. And so more or less, then I feel like I can take him in a physical battle, assuming that he doesn't. I don't give him a chance to use his magic from far away. Then.
Yeah, exactly. You think right now when you're looking at him, you're like, dude, I could fucking take this guy. Like it took. I mean, in my mind, like if you were like if I were you, right? I would have as soon as I came into play, I would have punched this dude in the fucking face.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, but I
Because
guess
I'm an emotional person compared to you.
right.
Yeah.
But I guess just to kind of like go from where I'm from,
Mhm.
like I'm thinking like I don't want to cause more harm for other people. Because I'm assuming that there's obviously repercussions for whatever I do. So
Okay. Yes. So
if
think
I'm
about that.
sitting
This is
here to
hold on. So
yeah.
that's the kind of thing I told you you need to tell me. Like
Oh,
if you're
okay.
being thoughtful about that, I need to know because if you don't tell me, I can't tell you
Oh
what is
yeah,
actually the
yeah.
repercussions.
I'm not thinking like, oh well, I could just like I could fight him, but like what might I guess I would be worried, and maybe I should think about this. Like my character wants to think about what would happen if I were to fight him. Maybe that's a better answer.
No,
Like I
you're
want to
looking for the after effect. What's the after effect of me killing this
right.
man right now? Like what happens after?
Yeah.
Right. That's what you're actually discussing, and that
Right.
is important. That's actually good. That's a good defense. You should think about that.
Right, because I mean I can just go and fight him, but like
But
what
Lear, what
if
I'm telling you is that your character wasn't thinking about that yet because you never told me.
yeah, okay, so I get what you're saying. I need to say it.
Mhm.
That is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like what are the after effects of me fighting him? Am I going to anger the Vismals and cause even more harm
Excellent,
amongst
excellent
the
thought, and I give
humans?
you greater wisdom SS as a reward for that thought.
Okay.
Um, so that's on your SS vault, right? It goes straight to your SS vault. Anyway, so what actually would happen? What you think would happen if you took his ass out right now, and then we're assuming you're a truth teller. So and then you
Hmm.
just like you told them what was going down. This kid's a
Right.
fucking lunatic. Whatever.
Hmm.
They guaranteed kill you. They would execute you because you
Hmm.
can't touch royalty like that. But
Right.
but you've just saved the entire fucking Terra from this asshole.
Well, but I might have saved them from him.
Right.
Yeah.
That's no.
But I
That's
don't know
what's
that
one
I don't
life
know that
to thousands.
yeah, but I know if there's repercussion. I don't know if there's going to be repercussions on the rest of the people from that action beyond myself.
You're fairly certain off of everything you've learned over the history of your life
Hmm.
here. You know that the abysmal lord that currently rules,
Hmm.
he's kind of like he's like a pragmatist, right? So he's not gonna
Pragmatist.
yeah he's not gonna he's I think I'm using that word right, pragmatist. Um, yeah, a person who is guided more by practical considerations than by ideals, right? So
Hmm.
you know that he's likely to kill you because you're the guy who
Hmm.
committed the act, and he's that kind of
Right.
leader, right?
Right.
But he won't necessarily. I mean, you don't have a bloodline to punish, right? But he won't
Hmm.
necessarily punish like your village, for example, because he's just not that guy. There are leaders out here who
Okay.
will do that. but he's not one of them.
Hmm.
So that's why it helps for me to know what you're worried about. That way I can tell you this kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
But
I guess in that scenario then, like if I'm not worried about whip back from the other abysmals onto the entirety of the full human race, then I am going to do something. So I think if if I presume I can fight him, um how close of a fight do I think it is? Do I feel like I need an advantage to do something as to get him when he's not expecting it, or do I think I can just straight
so you're
challenge him to something that he can't win?
so wait, challenge?
Yeah, I guess so.
What do you mean challenge?
Well, I mean, I guess like since it's
Are
kind of
you
like
gonna
a
have
proving
Val? Are
ground.
you gonna have Val with him?
Well, I mean,
You
kind of
sir,
like
I challenge you to death. Do it like that.
I mean, more or less, it's like, well, if you want to, one way I could go is like, hey, if you want to test test your like, if you think you're so great, why don't we test your combat skill against me or
Okay,
something?
so you're saying you're weighing the options.
Yes.
Tactically
Yeah.
speaking, it's always better to strike the enemy unaware. Always. Strictly.
Right.
But
Right.
if that's not your thing, like you feel bad doing that, right?
I guess to a certain like if the ideal scenario,
Lear,
right,
Lear,
is
hold
like
on,
if
hold
I
on, hold
know
on.
I can take him.
Hold
Oh, go
on.
ahead.
No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's always going to be tactically better to strike an enemy unaware. Always. That's
Right.
strict. That's always true. Okay.
Right.
All right. You know that, but you can still be the honorable man that I think you want to be, and you can just strike that from your playlist,
Mm-hmm.
right? Essentially. So you could do your character believes like if he wanted to, it will maybe harm him by doing it, right? Obviously, because it's not the
Mm-hmm.
tactically superior thing to do. You
Right.
could still do the have out the challenge thing, which is always funny to me because
Mm-hmm.
so I will
Well,
always laugh when you do it, but I
well,
your character
I
strictly
guess
speaking thinks it will work.
do I think it would work?
Yeah,
Do I
yes,
think he's
but
strictly evil or just ambivalent more so?
that's a hard without knowing him more personally, it's a hard one to decipher.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that he's the
Do I
intended
think I
ruler of
can
your Terra.
do you think I can in some way like um hmm he doesn't have like any sort of weapon. That magic is essentially like done uh from like one's own command. I don't know how all
Yeah, so what
the
he
things
did,
work.
to cast the magic that he
Hmm.
casted, uh, was he more or less challenged you guys to like a game of war, right?
Hmm.
Um, and then well, it wasn't actually him that suggested it; it was one of the other humans. But
Okay.
anyway, but so then he was like ready to do it, but he basically suggested that you humans play the humans and he play the abysmal, and
Okay.
he took a less than a minute to like say some words and then threw out his arm in your all's direction, and that's what caused that
Okay.
like disintegration thing. It was almost like a
Okay.
prepped action.
So it's less of an accidental thing now that I know this.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I need to ask more. Okay. So I needed I it once I learned that it was more of a once I learned that it was more of an intentional act than an accidental act, that
Mm-hmm.
changes things a lot. Because I was almost reading it as like he accidentally did this, but now he doesn't care. But it
Mm.
seems to me, I'm assessing it now that he knew that what he was going to do would kill. So I see it differently. He's already like I guess I've already seen him play his move more or less.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he's arrogantly like facing away during it, I'm going to say my character feels as if like it doesn't matter that this conversation has happened because this is still a continuous event. So I actually don't mind in this scenario um striking from behind because it's different than what I thought it was. I thought this was like accidental thing. So because if it was an accidental thing, he's like, oh well, why should I care? I think that would have changed how I would want to proceed. But he knew what he was doing,
Mm-hmm.
from what I gathered.
Yeah, you suspect that to be true.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, in that case, I think I surmise that it's going to be, he's already i- a net negative to in the danger to humanity, and I choose, he's already shown no remorse when I've tried to reason, and I'm just going to strike from behind.
Okay. So when we strike, are we striking with our weapon?
Yeah, what weapon do I have then? Like, I know, because I
We're
we kind of.
assuming we're assuming that you're using the current Guardian gear, which at the
Mm-hmm.
moment is basically just unarmed, like brawl.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, but I presume I can take him in that sense.
Yeah, they would have taught you how to they would have
Yeah,
taught you
to
like
to use it
actually
to win.
punching, not necessarily
Yeah.
you're I think you're choosing to go deflective defense.
Yeah,
Mm.
maybe more so, but like I can also use it offensively enough
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Are
then.
you doing the thing like we discussed where you're basically grappling him, or are you doing more like the traditional offense guardian stuff, which is like you're like actually just straight up punching his ass?
I think in this scenario, I don't really have anyone I'm working with. I think it makes sense to do more of the like the deflection stuff if I'm with other people.
Mhm.
But in this case, just like traditional Guardian Academy fight 'em sort of thing.
Excellent. Okay, so are you punching with the intent to kill? That's one of the major questions.
Yeah.
And then are you lethal striking him or are you hampering him?
I'm gonna hit as hard as I can.
Right, but in a lethal
With the
area
intent
or a
to, yeah,
hampering
yeah,
area?
like, yeah, in a
Okay, so like
area
you're
that's,
like punching him with your gauntlet on the back of his head, for example.
yeah,
That's a lethal
yes,
intention with lethal strike.
right.
All right, so you fucking sock that guy in the back of the head. His head cracks and caves in, and blood lets. And he's just on the ground, like writhing and
Hmm.
seizing, right?
Right.
And you can see his power like flailing. He might like explode or something. You're not certain. You think you can defend
Hmm.
yourself better by preparing for it.
All right. So, I am assuming he's about to more or less like release all of his power from like death.
Mhm.
Is what my
Yeah.
wisdom's telling me then.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and obviously try to like
Do you brace or do you look
break.
for cover?
I'm gonna try to brace.
Okay, so you prepare like a brace, and momentarily before that, the power like fucking right, and it does
Okay.
like an implosion followed by an explosion. So like it comes all in and
Hmm.
then fucking blows all out. And
Okay.
when it comes in, it kind of throws you off your stance just slightly, but you manage to regain in that time where it turns into an explosion, and you absorb most of that like blow. It like kind of almost like it like attacks like the air in front of you, in front of your
Hmm.
brace, and it like flies through and around. You
Okay.
guarded way better this time than you did through his
The
actual
first time.
spell, right?
Okay.
So you realize that this is like something you can do.
All
Um,
right. I can focus it better than
right.
if I'm just inherently. Okay.
Yeah, you have some resistance naturally, like very strong
Hmm.
resistance naturally, but you can almost like enact it.
Focus it.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, so you like go through fine, right? Like the surrounding area is just like fucking on fire.
Hmm.
Like a lot of the trees
Yeah.
and local like pillars and stuff that were in the training ground is just gone, right? It's turned to dust.
Hmm.
Um, but like like 60, 80 feet out further than that,
Yeah.
shit's on fire.
Right.
um, but so eventually they come, people come, the humans do. They like interrogate you. Um, are you being truthful? So they would sit you down, right? One guy would be like, "Uh, how did the young lord die?"
I'm going to tell him that he proposed
Leer,
to.
how did the
Oh,
young lord
I
die?
yes. He he proposed to have a battle and lost.
You killed the young lord?
Um, not I didn't want to have to, but I was left no other choice.
What do you mean?
Well, he proposed the battle as to be, or there was a battle that was proposed to be a game. However, rather than withholding his power, he used his magic to kill all the other men.
All the other men, but not
But
you.
had survived uh his initial attack, and so I struck back and and dealt a fatal blow.
They like leave you with that for a little bit. They
Hmm.
after some time, the your like commander comes in, right, and he says,
Hmm.
it took him some time to get here because he wasn't actually here, right? He
Hmm.
would have had to like ride in from somewhere else.
Hmm.
But he comes in and he says, Guardian Leer, I sent you here to aid in our relations with the Abysmals,
Hmm.
and you're telling me that within the first hour of your release, your official release to him, he ends up dead?
Yes, he had no care for humans and what was seeking to um hinder me and then the rest of the humans at some point in time.
He like taps his whatever his like ink pen or something, and he would come
Mm-hmm.
he would ask for like drinks, so he would bring over
Mm-hmm.
drinks.
All right.
And he says, "You're sure it needed to be done? I did hear rumors."
Um, I was I felt like I was left no other choice. Should he continue to live, surely we everyone would die.
He nods. He says, "It's very likely that you will be called for execution."
Um, since I've already know this, I know his father and is is more um oh, what was that term again?
Pragmatic.
Yeah, pragmatic, and I I'm going to understand the surrounding more. It would essentially be a human court that would be deciding this, right?
No, it's the abysmal personally. The
The
father.
the abysmal, yeah. So he's personally, I'm just going to, I would be sent to talk to him, and he would from there.
No, very unlikely. You never get a chance to speak to that abysmal.
Oh, he's just gonna be like, oh, it was you, and just blow me blow me up. Okay.
no. He won't necessarily serve out the execution himself either.
Oh, okay. but but I mean, if I'm not getting a chance to talk, I'm not like
Yeah, there's
I'm
no
going to.
trial. Yeah, there's no
Yeah, there's
trial.
no trial. Yeah, so I'm talking to like one of the head guard, right?
You're talking to the your commander. He's the commander of
My
all
commander.
guardians.
Okay.
Hmm.
Um, you know, um,
This is your chance. This is your best chance to plead your case if you're trying to plead your case.
yeah,
He's the one who personally sent you and the 20 others here to die.
yeah. All right. Yeah, so I'm going to you're talking to the commander. You would send me to the Vismals to die for something that I had no other alternative to do but to do.
He's a little confused by your statement.
No.
He says, "I sent you there to try to change him. Like I said at the beginning. Um, I heard of the rumors. I mean, I." He puts down his helmet onto the table, and he looks at you and he says, "We don't have we don't have too many things that we're able to do here, right?" He like puts over the drink towards you so you can
Mm-hmm.
drink, and he says, I I spent a good amount of effort picking out you few that I felt were so morally perfect, so that you might be able to talk to this young man and maybe fix his ways. Now I
Mm-hmm.
find that The best of us that I sent is all dead,
Mhm.
and only you remain. And not because you were able to fix it, but because you were strong enough to be able to. He like puts down his head right in shame, and he says,
Mhm.
"I never meant for you to be the one to have to kill that young man. I I didn't even know it was possible to kill an Abysmal."
Mhm. Um. Did, so you already knew that he there might try such a terrible act.
No, of course not. I knew that he was ambitious with his power. No, but I never suspected he would just blow you away. That was never on my mind. Look, Lear, I'm going to tell them that it was me who killed him. He looks up at you.
Hmm. It would be better that you not um I'll take responsibility for it. However, it's best I leave this land, or I'm assuming I can leave the land. Is the piece falling into place
No,
essentially?
the world is not yet livable. You can't
So
actually leave the Terra.
I can't. There is no leaving. Okay,
Right.
so it has to be addressed in
Mm-hmm.
some way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you would definitely yearn, like you would almost willingly banish yourself, right? For sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's like the easy thing, right? It's like, oh well, he's not here right. He's not home right now. Yeah.
No, yeah. He puts on his helmet and says, "I want you to speak nothing further on this incident. You were never. I mean, you were you were there, um, but you were one of the lucky survivors. You just happened to not be in the area. Speak nothing of your special ability of being able to survive their magic. For I'm sure they would hunt you for it."
hmm Um, at that point, I'm gonna ass assume that
You
I
stand
really
with him.
trust this guy. Yeah, I like really trust him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
so
he's a good commander.
I think that he has the best interest of everyone in the heart, and that like technically I'm still under him, so
Mm-hmm.
I I'm agreeable to that.
Okay, so you stand with him.
Yeah.
All right, and then like I said, he puts on his helmet and he salutes you. I know you never got to know your family. I'm pretty sure that your mother was Asteria, was she not?
Yes.
He puts down his salute and he says, "Your father's Terra landed within the Shadowlands. Have you heard of it?"
Only once.
From the reports that I was able to read, most of the Imperial holdouts have been already lost. We have loose ties and connections with them, but your father belonged to the Dwaro faction. He goes by the name of Locke Volt.
Okay.
I hope that that information can aid you.
All
before
right.
I before I sacrifice myself, I shall grant you a single boon. I understand that you wanted to be part of the initial explorers, so I'm going to release you to the Vanguard Forward Scout Unit so that you might be able to explore and find him. Rebuild that family of yours. Make some good in this world, and damn well to learn to use your ability. Because as we just learned, the Vismals will not always be our friend.
Thank you. I'll be sure to do everything in my power to keep our people safe when the the terror finally falls into place.
He salutes you, a final salute, and then he walks
Yep.
off. Um, and that is basically a good history.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you do your next session,
Okay.
we will arrive. Well, we could technically arrive now, but we're about at the end of the session.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's an hour 50. So yeah. Um, any ending notes? Anything you want to add? Anything? I mean, this was your first official session, so I'd obviously like to
Yeah.
hear your review of Mind Game in general. But
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something where like obviously I'm still kind of feeling it out and everything,
mm-hmm.
but I think not that I like I think I learned a lot, really, right? So like I think it's very, at least so far, very different from like what I've done on a very limited scope.
Oh, you're talking
And
about with
so
D and
I
D.
think that's, yeah, because I think maybe I think the one group I did was like inherently more like action based. It may also kind of what you were talking about, like almost more like I think what you were calling like RTS, right?
Mm.
So like and I don't know how much of that there will be, obviously, because it's just like the first time, but I think I did bet. I not that like I did that there's like a game score for it, but I feel like I did better than I thought I was going to do and might have more
You'll
potential to do it than I thought I could.
Yeah, you'll definitely find more and more success. We have a lot of language that we need to be able to learn to communicate each other
Yeah.
better, but we're getting there. I can tell we're getting there. It's going to go smoother and smoother as we go.
Yeah, that's why I figured.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's definitely different than D&D because like you're saying
Oh
there's a
yeah.
lot of
Well, I'm saying like that's the only experience in that sort of like game that I even had that's even close,
Mhm.
right? So,
All right. Any I mean I pretty much managed to fucking wrap that end session with a ribbon. Like that's pretty rare.
yeah.
But is there anything you wanted to add, like any addendums or anything? After this session, I will no longer allow you to add stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I want to know a little better. Maybe I should have explored this some more, but like I for like the null is it technically magic or it would be null magic, right?
So yeah, so it's definitely named after Null Magic, like you're saying. I call it
Yeah.
Nulkana. Um,
Nulkana. Okay.
right. So there is magic that exists that is Nulkanic magic. But yours is more like an ability, a power,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah, so it's more like originating from self than out of like
it's like your physical
for
being is Nulkanic
yeah.
versus you
Okay.
have a power that you can like put out into the world that's Nulkana magic. You can't do
Yeah,
that,
okay.
right? Necessarily. Mhm.
Yeah, okay. That's good. Yeah, I guess that's why I was trying to figure out a little bit more. And that sounds good.
Mhm.
I think the only other thing that I can like think of is just to kind of better flush out. I mean, I think I can probably do this to a certain degree, but like when it says alignment, I think maybe going through the character sheet a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
even just
so
like knowing a little bit more about the world in general, or at
mhm.
least what I would know at the moment, because I do think I'm missing a little bit of the setting, just the time, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, you're
I
good.
understand part of it, but I think that there was part of the confusion is like there were certain things I was assuming that I shouldn't have assumed, and then like the other way around too is like you didn't necessarily describe something that you might have like taken for granted because I didn't ask uh about it,
Yeah.
which is fair enough. I just like
Like I told you,
I think that's
I
where I
focus
was
on what you're
losing
focusing
stuff.
on.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. So I think that's where a lot of it was. I didn't look at the least at the moment because I had like maybe a preconceived notion off of like previous conversations of like very small amounts of things that are happening or you know and I just made a big big assumptions, right?
Mhm.
And I
You
think that's maybe an area where I'm going to improve upon is like being a lot more
thorough.
thorough, yeah,
Mhm.
because like I definitely missed some big things until kind of like we slowed it down in the a little bit in certain parts. So
Mhm. Yeah, John likes to be really thorough. This is kind of the reason why I anticipate you two will be good allies.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, because he might focus in on like small details, and then I'm probably not that I'm like wanting to necessarily like overworld RTS necessarily, but like I think I think about those things. I need to verbalize what I'm thinking and why, right?
Yeah,
So like
that way I know how to aid you better.
yeah, because I think when I was thinking, I'm thinking, but I just need to think it out loud,
Mhm.
right? So like I had that thought, and then I just kept it to myself rather than saying it out
Yeah, some thoughts you can keep to yourself, but I'm gonna wager a guess that the majority of your thoughts
most of
you're
the
supposed to be
time.
telling me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but like some people, they'll think like sneaky strategies. You're not very much of a sneaky person, but like sneaky strategy stuff, you don't necessarily want to tell me.
Yeah.
Because
So
because it should
so
be a surprise to me and the calm that you're attacking or whatever the hell it may be happening. But
right.
mhm.
Yeah, I think I could see a few scenarios where something might be sneaky or I might have a certain idea of what I want to do. But I think more times than not, it's going to not be that. And I think I can't really necessarily pull that off well until I know more about my my ability and what my character can handle and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And I don't think it's an inherently sneaky, you know,
No, I don't think you're
character.
trying to be sneaky. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But sometimes
So I
some people deserve to be put down no matter what cost of honor, right?
mhm.
That I was really trying to push you with that guy. I wanted to see how far
Well,
I could
yeah,
push you. Yeah.
oh no, I mean, I think obviously once I felt like I knew it was on purpose, right?
Mhm.
So I think I presume that like this is like a and this is kind of going back into what I was saying, like it's like, oh, it's like a little training ground. There was like an accident because it was a game, and like obviously he wouldn't have meant to do something, like, you know. But I think like what you're saying, like I don't know if you had planned on it being more intentional or not from the start, but like that was definitely something that made it like an easy decision, like an easier decision, right?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, because I don't know where I would have been from the standpoint of if like if he was like just for lack of better terms, like I don't know, nihilistic almost. I mean, I don't know if that's the right term.
You mean Maleficent? Like
Well, yeah, maybe that.
intentionally evil, like intentionally trying to cause harm.
Well, yeah, if he wasn't though, like what I think the thing is like I couldn't when I was at the point where I wasn't sure that he was necessarily Maleficent. Like, is he
Mhm.
just um
Yeah.
a
What
more
was he? Hold on. I know the fucking term you're looking for. You're asking if he was unempathetic.
yeah,
Mhm. Was
yeah,
he just unempathetic?
right.
Was he just like a straight up sociopath or what?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I was like initially trying to go down that path of figuring that out and not necessarily doing a great job, but like I think that's where my initial thought pattern was, right? Is like
Mhm.
I is this something where um yeah, because I think it does make it like a lot more gray if it's like, is it this an inherently bad character, or is this like a someone who is just like super distant, or like yeah, I think because I think if it was like a character who's just unempathetic, I would have probably gone more the route of being kind of like what you're saying is like, well, hey, then let's fight sort of thing, right? To more like almost even declare or just like challenge, right?
Yeah. I mean,
But
I wouldn't have even fucking talked. Honestly, I made it so egregious. I probably would have just started trying to kick his ass.
yeah, yeah, but I think if it was like
I mean,
that
that's
that once again
differs from
comes from
players
yeah,
as well.
and also like me not I need to take more time when I run into something to like figure out everything that's going on the or at least the big majority of things going on and
Mhm.
better understanding the context rather than just guessing based off of like the name is like the training ground. So like, oh yeah, like, obviously this is what's going on because I know it's a training ground. It's like I need to to slow down on that area.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think I get where your confusion was happening. You're doing word
Yeah,
association. Try okay,
right,
so know that now that I know that, I'll be a little bit more careful with it. Uh, but like try to take not everything necessarily at extreme face value.
right.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like, yeah, I guess it can happen at that setting, but like I'm almost presuming that anything taking place at that setting was inherently um training related or
Hmm.
and like I definitely read into it initially, and this is where you were getting so confused. It's like I'm like, oh, there's just this freak accident where he was like trying to like figure out how much power he has, and he's like, whoops, accidentally, you know,
No.
whoops, absolutely eviscerated
Uh.
someone.
So yeah. So I mean, you can play that off as you were being in shock, right? You were in shock. You couldn't quite under. I mean, I'm saying in the instances in which I don't allow rewind, because I'm not going to usually allow
Right,
through to rewind, right? So you can
I
be
get
like, dude, I
that.
was in shock. I
I,
didn't
I was
actually
using a
understand what's
new
happening.
player. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
that was a new player buff right
So
there.
you can always like, if you gain a new understanding mid scene, you can just try to play it off of like an actual like, oh shit, I must have been in shock because I just understood what this guy
Okay.
did and I'm gonna fuck him up right now.
And now I figured it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, now I know.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I guess instead of like, yeah, what you're saying is like if I was in that scenario later, I could say, oh, I under I finally realized what was happening after uh
Mhm.
at
After like
you know
several
I
minutes
the
in game, yeah.
yeah the memory yeah the memories come back to me, and I yeah, I was like I just um yeah, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, don't worry too much about like you're gonna miss out random information and random bits here and there, especially in group play because group play gets real messy. But like just know that you can just react. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
always gonna be trying to help you. Like I'm me as a
hmm
DM, I'm never trying to screw the players, contrary to every fucking person's belief. I'm actually trying to
I'm
help everybody.
messaging. I'm gonna message John right now that I just got soul crushed.
He's gonna be like, no, how? But
I was metagaming and I just got in trouble. He's just gonna be like, yeah, it happens to me all the time. Yeah, I guess like speaking of that, like without going into it too
Mhm.
far, um I know that you were kind of like talking about like that I mean, there's obviously multiple people. I don't know how many people exactly at the moment there
Oh,
are.
the total number of players is pinned on the Mind Game Genesis chat. It's 9.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And obviously there's going to be some oh oh I can just click the pinned. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. This is makes sense. But yeah, I see something was just unpinned.
Yeah, I realize that that shouldn't be there still. uh,
What was Andrew talking about?
he was describing my DMing method.
I like that.
It was funny, so I kept it.
Roll your next character.
He had an awful experience. It was funny as shit. He accidentally killed his father in a bar. He accidentally killed his father in a bar out of a fit
Oh,
of
and he just wanted
rage.
to go next. Yeah. And he wanted to go next, and so that's what you came up with then?
No. This is a purely
Oh,
bullshit thing that he wrote randomly one day describing my DMing. He had a really fun we had a fun time. He just I think he
oh,
got like
okay.
distracted and then like he was having a hard, I don't know what the fuck it was. He just kind of like slowly left the player base.
Oh, okay. He's not playing right
It was
now.
it was on friendly terms. Yeah. If he ever asked to come
Yeah.
back, I would let him. He was a fun player to play.
Okay.
Mhm.
So so this I'm assuming it makes the most sense for me to figure out kind of like where each player aligns as I get to them, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
make it a thing to try to get new players to play as often as possible. One, and then two, to play with all of the veterans, especially.
mhm.
But Yeah, I want all the players to meet each other in game at least one time.
Right.
Just because it's a little useless to have this many players if they're not interacting basically.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that that's, an interesting aspect of it to where there's kind of like a little bit of both.
Yeah, right now
I,
I
I do
have
like that.
everyone locked in a single region. So like on top of the fact that I want everyone to interact, I have the literal map. It's tiny right now in comparison to its normal
Right.
state.
Okay.
Normally it's like multiple continents. Right now I have everyone strapped into a single continent. The one
Okay.
that I linked to you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, hmm. Yeah, the thing I'm wondering about is like I'll get more used to this more, but like all the all the stats are just inferred
So
essentially.
okay,
But
so
but at the same time you were kind of mentioning like oh this is more apprentice or this is expert and then like
those are skills. So skills are separate from stats on some level. They're related, obviously, right? Like if you are a weightlifter and you have weak strength, you can be a master weightlifter all you want to be, but you're not lifting any big weights. You know what I'm saying? Like they're obviously
yeah,
related, but yeah, so the stats. So okay, you don't have to. The reason why I don't show players their stats is because they get overly focused on it, and then it ends up hampering them. So what I need you to understand about your stats is if you can
hmm
go up to a building and you punch that building and you blow that building's wall up, all right, you're probably a pretty strong motherfucker.
right,
Okay? So like so long as you do that and you know what the result is, that's what matters. If you go up to another building somewhere else and it's described exactly as the same building components, same building materials, and you walk up, what do you expect to do to that wall when you punch it?
oh yeah you're gonna do the same thing, yeah,
Yeah, you expect to blow it the fuck up, right? So
yeah,
unless there's something that's changed, it's very likely going to do exactly the same thing.
right,
Right.
yeah.
Um so that's
You appear
that's
at
what
another
I
training ground, everyone else just got killed.
yeah, exactly. No, exactly that, right? So if
Yeah,
if a magical explosion happens and you go to
yeah.
defend yourself, what is the expectation of what's going to happen?
I'm going to survive a magical explosion.
Right, exactly. So like you
Yeah,
in theory that's going to stay the same, right? Um
yeah,
Now there are some, like I said, some things could change and then maybe you're not surviving it exactly at the same level because it's like a different
right.
power or something. But my
Yeah,
point remains is that if you went through that exact same scenario, you will pass it the same way every time. That's what you should
hmm
expect.
right.
Like if you punch a guy in the back of the skull, what do you expect to happen?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be lethal.
Yeah, exactly. That
Yeah,
that that's what
assuming
I
it's like
mean.
an average guy. Yeah,
Right, that's what I mean by like it's gonna be consistent. You should be
yeah,
able to do these things. Like if you fucking jump across a chasm and run through a meteor storm, you're kind of expecting to be able to do it. So obviously you didn't
yeah.
run through a meteor storm, but you go
Yep.
trying to, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My foot blown a hole in
Look,
here.
listen.
Because
All right, all I'm saying is sometimes I make plans and I get real sad when they don't get brought through.
you
I
know
was
what?
really expecting you to do it. I was
Oh
really
yeah,
expecting you to do it.
I think I was expecting two, but then I didn't want to be like. I felt like almost that would be like a little bit, and that maybe this is where I was like diverging a little bit. It's like I was going more from the standpoint of like, and I knew you weren't going to kill the character right there, right?
Mhm,
Like I was metagaming. I was like, no, Michelle won't kill the character if I do this. But
mhm,
at the same time, I think I was just going to play as if like I know my character is technically like isn't trained fully and like doesn't have the amount of like strength and power yet.
mhm. And those are all
Um,
true. Those are all true.
and so I think it would almost be like you were saying it would have been like the new player buff to allow me to be allowed to survive that.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, so that kind of goes along with your character archetype, right? So you got to remember that you are a
Yeah.
hero, okay?
Right.
And if you're a hero that plans on being like putting himself into stupid situations, that is your
Right.
fantasy. then guess what? I fully expect you as a child to put yourself into stupid situations. That's your petty. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
okay, so that it's fair. It's fair though to be realistic, like in quotes as well. So there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's just slightly less in in both of mine and
So
your
it was a
minds.
surprising, yeah.
It's slightly less heroic and expected, right?
Yeah.
Right, but you brought it back. You brought it back as a positive motivation. That's what I was worried about.
Right.
Is that you do this decision out of being purely scared, and
Right.
then it becomes a negative tone, like a true negative
Right.
tone. That's what I wanted to avoid.
Right.
But you, like I said, you turned it around and said, "I will never let someone else fall," which was fine up until that moment where your team dies, and then you were just like,
Yeah.
"I
Oh yeah, I
guess
was
it's
like so
okay.
lost.
I'll talk to him."
Well, I was thinking like I was almost reading it as like same deal. It was like in addition to it being an accident, I'm thinking that like, oh, if I go and hurt this, then like yeah, then everyone else I know is like dead too. Which, I think you helped me realize that I need to like tell you what I'm thinking. So like yeah, that was like one of those like I'm doing it for the greater good, less than like what are the it was more about like what is going to be the end result of my actions than do I do something about it. Like, if I do something and it doesn't help anything, is it really heroic?